All right, all right. Welcome back to another episode of Cult of Personality podcast, hosted by yours truly, Mikeymcchoppa. I'm keeping it snappy because I haven't recorded in quite a bit. Today's guest with us today, I've been waiting on this one. I've been scheming on this one for quite some time. M- Member of No Fun, Zoodeville. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Hell yeah, man. Long overdue and a pleasure to be here for real.
No, yeah, it's gonna be a dope conversation. I think you're very unique and a very productive and a very motivated individual. And I'm like, this is going to be a good episode. I like that you do filmmaking and music and that you've been focused on kind of keeping that balance between the two, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's important to for me to find the right balance between both because I could end up doing one more than the other. And um I for sure in the past had leaned more into doing video and kind of put my music on the back burner, and I realized I sh don't want to operate in that way. So yeah, finding a balance is important for real.
Word up. I was even like, again, right before we just started this, I was saying I was watching another podcast you had done. I was listening to you speak about that, and I'm like, very relatable because with the podcast, it's very easy to put anything else you want to do on the back burner. And I feel that. I
Yeah.
can only imagine with film, it's like setting up dates and filming people's videos and editing and all this extra shit, you know?
Yeah, it's juggling a lot of people's schedules and being available past just writing a treatment. They might call me for questions about something, and so I'm juggling so many people's ideas at the same time as well as my own. So I had to find a way to I started saying no a lot,
Word
to a
up.
lot of video stuff just so I could have the right amount of balance.
Word up.
Yeah.
I respect that. You just went on tour recently, with No Fun headlining for, or not headlining for, opening for Atmosphere, right?
Yep, 100%.
How was that? How was that?
It's uh it's very fun. Like my whole life I've wanted to tour. This is all I've ever wanted. Whatever scale, just the fact I get to go to new places and play my music is that's just something I've always strived for. And before I was doing it with No Fun, I was opening up solo. And then now that I got to bring my friends along, like no pun intended, it's so much fun for real. Like it's just being able to share that experience with my friends and seeing them feel these new experiences for the first time, it makes me happy. And then also for them to see things that I just told them stories about at first, and now they get to experience it firsthand. Like I really enjoy that. Like I'm a big people pleaser, so like I like making people happy. So like bringing them this opportunity has been super fulfilling for me, for real. And I'm looking forward to more, and I'm just grateful we I could do it with friends. Yeah.
Yeah, man. When I saw you guys do the Red Rocks, I nerded out. I remember watching like YouTube Skrillex sets at the Red Rocks and being like, wow, it's such a crazy venue. And y'all did that. Man,
Yeah, man.
it must be
Yeah.
surreal with all your boys, you know?
Yeah, I was there the year prior for Atmosphere just filming, and I remember during sound check and stuff, I'm standing on the stage and I'm looking at all the empty seats in front of me, and I remember thinking like, all right, I think next year they finna put me on this shit, because I joined the crew of Atmosphere, their touring crew, when that last year's show had been booked for months ahead of time. But then I got really close with them, so I felt like, oh, the next year they'll put me as an opener. And then
Hell
turns
yeah.
out it's me and my friends. So like it was a big full circle for me for sure.
Dude, that's so dope. That must be, yeah, that's really cool. Putting your peoples on is a really dope experience on top of just experiencing it for yourself, you know?
Yeah, man, this whole journey is like the best part about it is being able to share it with people. Like if I'm winning and it's just me, it's not as fun as if my whole team is winning too.
Right.
So it's really cool. Yeah.
Speaking of No Fun, how did No Fun come to be, or how did you come into contact with No Fun and joining No Fun?
When I like by the time I had met some people in No Fun wasn't even a thing yet.
Right.
But the first person I met out of everyone was Garrett, and he had just worked with a best friend of mine, Baby Franco, who was tattooing him in the studio. And
That's sick.
Garrett and Pistol were making a song, and Garrett was getting tatted by Baby Franco. And then Baby Franco ends up hopping on the song, and Garrett's like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know you made music. I thought you were just doing tattoos." So they made this cool song, all three of them, and and at this point, I'm hanging out with Baby Franco like every day. So then the next day, he kicks it with me, and he's like, "Oh, I met this dude yesterday. He's like super cool. Check out this song we made." And he plays it. I'm like, "Man, this guy's dope," you know. Um, and then Garrett adds me on Instagram and hits me up for a video, and I'm like, "Oh, my homie told me about you. Like you're dope. Like yeah, I'll shoot for you, whatever, you know." And then me and him just started shooting a lot. Like we had this cool run at the time. Like he was pushing me to do better shit without even knowing, but just because he's so creative. So I really like working with him because sometimes artists come to you and they don't know what the fuck they want to do
They want you to
visually,
kind of
you know?
carry it.
Yeah, and I work better with people who at least can bring me a skeleton of an idea. And Garrett went beyond that, you know? So me and him got really cool. And through shooting videos for him, I met some of his friends who were extras in the video. So that's how I met other members like Dave, Louis Lambo, Hugh Blind, Levi, Swan, and stuff. And then I met Wada through Dave, and it all just really happened through shooting video. And then we shot like 8 videos in 4 days for Dave, and everyone in No Fun came out for every one of those shoots at 12 p.m. sharp and stayed the whole day in the heat and all that. And then we realized like, oh, there's something dope here. Like there's this cool energy about us. We should do something about it, you know? And so we threw a show called No Fun. And then at first it wasn't even so much like we're making a collective. It's just a thing that happened, you know?
Organically.
Organically, man. Yeah. I wasn't looking to be in a group, and no one was. It just fell into our lap. It just felt like the right thing to do. No
That's
one
so
thought twice
sick.
about it. It just happened, you know. But yeah, shooting video really is how I met everyone. Yeah.
That's dope. Watching the collective on the incline these last 2 years, again, since I've interviewed Garrett, I've been watching all y'all, and I think it's so cool what y'all do. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on recently, and a little bit touching on the collective aspect, just because it touches on a good note for people who've seen the last or the Garrett episode, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. Moving forward, we do have a trademark question because I want to talk about you now and the origins of everything you do. I understand that you've been doing this for quite some time, since '09, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's some
yeah.
time, man. So
Yeah.
it goes a little like this. Zoodeville, the name, the image, the aura, and the energy. How to start, how do we get all the way here to this present moment, and kind of everything in between, the whole origin story.
Okay, so I guess to the first thing that started everything was listening to Atmosphere, which is crazy that we opened up for him because that's the reason I started making music. Like 50 Cent was the first rapper that I heard that I was like, "Oh, being a rapper is cool." But that's as far as that thought went. I'm
Right,
just they're the cool people. And I fucked with 50 Cent. And but then when I heard Atmosphere and just heard different subject matter, it could have been anyone who was just talking about real shit that I would have fell in love with. But Atmosphere was the first person that I heard where it wasn't like mainstream music, and I could tell there was some different about it, you
right,
know? And I really was gravitated towards that. And when I heard their music, I'm like, oh, I could do this. Like he's just talking about how he feels about stuff. And
right,
50 Cent was doing a different thing, which I loved, but I couldn't resonate with it where I'm like could see myself in those shoes, you know?
right.
Um, but with like many men, you know, it's like how I don't relate
It's
to
some
that.
real street shit.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I loved it. But I heard atmosphere shit and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like that. Or I think this way about that, you know? And so I was like, oh, I could do this. And so at first, I had a camera before I ever rapped, and I was just vlogging. Like this is like 2007, 8, you know, like YouTube is like 2, 3, 4 years old. And I'm just vlogging. I'm using my mom's camera that just has a video feature, and I just film vlogging stuff. And then once I got into rap, I'm like used out those editing skills to like shoot my own videos. And so in 2009, I did my first song. I dropped it on MySpace. MySpace was still a thing.
Holy
And
shit.
ever since the first song that I made, I was obsessed with it. And I would never hang out with my friends outside of school. They would all hang out together. I'd go home and just make like 4 songs, like every day. And they weren't like hella good, but I was just addicted to recording and writing. Um, and after a while, I started like dropping albums, mixtapes, all this stuff, and I would print my own shit, go to a different high school, pass them out. Um,
Oh shit. You was
it's
hustling
shit that,
back then.
yeah, man, shit that like even now I would be like, I can't believe I did that. I really would skip school lunch to go to another school's lunchtime and just pass out CDs to random people. Like, and my shit was like trash, you know, but like I didn't know at the time. It took me forever to get really good, but that's really just how it happened, man. Like it's just I found an artist that I felt like I could hella resonate with, and it made me realize I could do it too. And then I just took it from there. Like I even if shit wasn't working out the way that it is right now, I'd be doing the exact same thing at the same level. Like I would
That's
still care about the visuals, how I do. Nothing has changed, man. Like
word.
and everything that's came into my life has been just because I kept going. You
Word.
know, and I would still keep going if it all fell to shit tomorrow. I'm still gonna drop everything that I have and shoot at the same skill level. Like it's not even about anybody else. Like it's cool, people love my shit, but like
It's just for the
I
love of the game.
need supporters. To be real, I would do this regardless, man. So it once I fell in love with it, this has been my obsession. I don't know what else I'd do with my life.
Real
So
shit.
I knew from a young age, bro, that I wanted to do this, and it never changed. The only time it ever like deviated, I wanted to be like a fucking high school history teacher for like 8 months. I really wanted that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, man,
That's real as fuck, bro.
yeah, this is just for as long as I've known, bro. Like this is all I've been doing. Like dead ass. I have
And
terrible memory, so I can't even really remember past before like freshman year, like what I was like really into. Like it's just been this for so long.
word
Yeah.
up, bro. So you started early high school when you started rapping? Were you always
Yep.
Zoodeville?
No, I went by like my initials at first, a whole different name. I was hide and seek zoo before Zoodeville. That by the time I was hide and seek zoo, that's when I was getting my fans and stuff. I
Word up.
started getting my first batch of fans in like 2010, 2011. Um, and it's just been a climb since then, you know?
Word up.
But yeah, people know me as that. A lot of people like I didn't change my name to Zoodeville till like 2017. So I
Okay,
was running with hide and seek zoo for a cool almost a decade, you know?
yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
When you first started back in like 2010, 2011, or when you first started gaining attraction, what were you sounding like? What were you aiming for? Where were you at
I
really?
I sounded like the people I was listening to. I all my early shit sounds like I'm trying to be atmosphere, you know what I mean? Um, which is like normal. Like you end up imitating who you like when you first start until you find your sound. But yeah, I just sounded like a knockoff atmosphere to be real, you know? And it wasn't until like I started listening to Mac Miller that I started getting a new influence. Like only those two have had big influences on how I write. I like a bunch of other stuff, but those are the two main like inspirations that I've had. Um, so I would say like, and I suck at like saying what shit sounds like because I don't know a lot of music,
hmm
but I can only attribute my style to both of them for real. Yeah. And so young, I just sounded like I'm trying to sound like them, you know? And then also like I was in this scene that was like super hip hop Nazi type shit where it was like fuck mainstream, we only like underground music. So then I
Yeah.
was making shit that was like underground, technically stuff that was scared of the hoes or whatever. But I'm also from like Vacaville, so I'm like near the bay. So like all my friends are listening to turn dope stuff, and so am I. But I knew my audience would never accept that. So I
Right.
was just making what I thought they would like. And that's the one thing I hate about my early years. I was enjoying it, but a big factor was me like, oh, they'll like this. They'll like this. I never really thought too much about what do I want to do?
Right.
Like, so as I got older, I started shedding that off me. And I
Yeah, I was
kind of
about to
started
say.
getting a bit resentful towards that scene of like people that are like just straight underground hip hop Nazis and hate anything that's popular. Like I started getting the ick from that.
Yeah.
So then I heavily turned into doing other shit just to spite that. And like it was like, I'm gonna do this and I know my fans are finna hate it. I don't give a fuck.
Word up.
And then they didn't even really hate it. They just liked anything that I did because they liked me as a person because I would vlog a lot. So people knew me as a person too. So it kind of like I had that going for me where they would accept anything I was doing, which is why people hella accepted that like I turned to like doing music videos because they just fuck with me as a person. And that's how I learned that through trying to change styles and people were still rocking with me. I'm
Right.
like, oh, okay, I could almost do whatever the fuck I want, which is like a good place to be in, artistically, for
Word.
sure.
And you've always
Yeah.
been good with a camera. Where did the filmmaking or the like vlogging, videography aspect kind of switch or like come into play?
So when I first started shooting my own videos, I would hand the camera over to my friend and just show him like 10 to 15 seconds of the movement I want.
Mm-hmm.
Through so many years of doing that, I was like, damn, I feel like I have an eye for this, but I didn't know anyone to shoot for. I'm from a small town. I didn't really know any other rappers. So it was just something in the back of my head that like I was
Right.
like, oh, one day like I do one. Like I feel like I would kill it. Like I always had this feeling through just showing the homies what to do. And then it wasn't until like 2017 that I started shooting for other people. And the first person I shot for was this guy named Rob Anthony. Um, Super dope from San Diego. And well, he's from LA, but he lives in San Diego. And I drove like 8 hours to go shoot this video for him for free. Like I'll do whatever the fuck I want. I don't need to get paid. Like
Right.
getting to do it was the payment for me. So I did that, and then his best friend, Baby Franco, who's not my best friend, like seen that. And I've been knowing Baby Franco in the scene for a minute, but he saw that I started doing videos. So then I shot a video for him, and he's well known in the scene that we were in. So once I shot for him, all these other rappers that I was cool with are
The
like,
web
oh,
effect.
I'm cool with him. Like, I want him to shoot my video, like versus some random dude.
Word up.
So then it just became like a domino effect. And then literally, like, this shit's like a muscle. So the more I was doing it, the better I got. And the more that I found my style through video. And yeah, it just happened. I didn't even like really make the decision of like, I'm trying to do a video, the video guy. I'm trying to be I never had that. It just happened. And
Yeah,
that's
just
the
doing
thing
it.
I like about my life. The good things that have happened to it are things that just happened. I never like masterminded or had this agenda and was like, I'm gonna do this, and because of that, this is gonna happen. And then once this happens, I could do it. Like, no.
No, there
It
was
just
no plan.
yeah, no plan, dude. I was just doing what I like, and then I ended up shooting so many videos and then stopped dropping albums. Like, and I was just so busy for so long, so early on. I didn't even realize how much time was going by without me like dedicating any of it to music. But
Word.
yeah, it's kind of just how it happened. It was like just accident, like a domino effect, and then I found my style through just doing it and doing it over again. And so
Yeah, that
like now
was
I'm comfortable with what I do for sure.
word. And I was gonna say, I was gonna ask originally, like, how do you build the courage to do the first one, just from being like, yeah, I think I could do it, but it's cool that you had that support system when it came to like people reaching out and that web effect of people wanting to work?
Yeah, it definitely like laying the foundation out here in LA through just being a rapper first is what really helped the video side at years later, because I've been coming down here to LA since like 2011. I was still in high school and I would come do shows out here. Like I'd catch the Greyhound, come out here and play in a backyard or some like really like ghetto dive bar and shit. Not getting paid, nothing. Like
Just
I
for the
was
love of
just
the
like,
game.
dude, bro. And then I'd go back to school, no one would even know, that like, I just went and played a fucking show. Like So through that, I that's how I met a lot of the rappers I knew that I ended up shooting for and that I'm cool now, like, just through shows, having the same amount of fans, being in the same scene. So by the time I did video, the client list was already there. Yeah.
Word. Was there any like skills that you took from like your early vlogging days back like early you to the filmmaking now?
I want to say I still look at everything the same way. It's just with a little more intent. I want to say I
With
just
some
have way more
direction.
intent now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I kind of before I would just shoot whatever. Now I shoot and I'm editing in my mind as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I
You
get you.
know, so like I'm shooting with intent. I'm like, I know where this shot's gonna go. I know why I'm getting this. I don't just be getting random shit. I will when it's a vlog, but music video, I kind of know where everything is gonna be placed somewhat. So I think that's the biggest change from early on. It's just now I just have more intent. But really the style has always just changed. Like at first it was just handheld, then I got a gimbal. Never the camera never left the gimbal for years. Now I don't like a gimbal at all, and I like handheld. But now I might go to a gimbal because it's been like, oh my God, like 4 or 5 years since I really been using one. And
Right. You just go through
I'm
these
really
like
into
creative
tripod
phases.
shots. I used to hate tripod shots when I started. I'm like, why would I want the camera still? I want
Yeah.
movement. Now I get why it's beautiful to do that. If you have beautiful composition and you have intent in the shot, you don't need movement. As
Yeah,
long as it's
sometimes less is more, you know?
100%. Yeah, man. So it's really like a muscle. So it's just things that I learned through trial and error, through just doing it. And then YouTube. YouTube is was very important. And I also had like mentors and stuff, that like taught me stuff too. So it's just been a big learning process, and there's still a lot more to learn, and I'm always down to learn. But I'm finally in a place, music video wise, where like if someone's like, "Yeah, he's dope," I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I kind of am." Back then I'd be like, "I don't know," like, but I'm just like content with my skill set right now. Yeah,
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, you have like over the years, you have not only like experience, but just work under your belt to like sit on and be like, I did this, like my legacy even, to some degree.
yeah,
And I think that's
100%.
cool.
Yeah,
Um, I was gonna ask, have you always been based in California or where are you from exactly?
I'm from a small town by Sacramento, like kind of Vallejo area, like Northern Bay. But it's not the Bay, but it's this town called Vacaville, and I've been there my whole life until I moved to LA in 2019. Yeah,
Oh
and I've been
man.
in LA since then. Yeah, for
How
sure.
was that like growing up and did that ever have like any influence on like your creativity or that kind of just like, you know?
Yeah, I think I owe everything that I do and who I am to living there. Like it li- it being so small, it made me dive into my mind about what I want to do. Like I feel like if I was in a big city, I would have been distracted by hanging out with friends and just everything that I might have never really sat down and been like, what do I want to do or whatever. But
Right.
being in a small town that like nothing's going on, there's nothing to do, it really gives you the time to sit and really just look inward. So and I used to hate it there. I used to want to move out my whole life. I'm like, I hate that there's nothing going on here. I hate that it's small. I hate that it's quiet. I hate I have to leave this town to go do some shit. But now that I'm in LA and everything's the opposite, I love everything I used to hate about my small town. I like that it's quiet. I love that it's small. I love that no one's doing shit because I can escape there. So I have this
Yeah.
new love for my hometown that I didn't think I would ever have.
Right.
And now it's like one of my favorite places to go, for real. Just to
Yeah.
like, it just gives me great perspective on like, dude, I came from here and now like when I'm somewhere else, like in but fuck America, I'm like, this is crazy because I would have never thought I'd leave that place. I early on, I just didn't think I would, it's like, why would I move anywhere? Everyone I know is here in my hometown. But now, like, through music, through the internet, I know people all over. and that's beautiful to me. And just everything I'm doing and being from that small town is so crazy. Like we ain't have shit there besides me and Papa Roach. It's the only it's the only fucking things out of there, bro. And
Fucking love Papa Rose. That's a good one though.
yeah, man, for sure, for sure. And it's just it makes me appreciate everything way more. If I was from LA, I'd be like, well, yeah, everyone from here is up doing some cool shit. But it's like from my hometown, no, nobody does. So
It gives you perspective for real.
yeah, man, of just how like you really could do some shit you put your mind to, or the universe got your back if you just got great intent and just follow your gut and stuff. Like there wasn't no cheat code that I had. It was just keeping keeping going. That's all. Yeah.
I I want to ask, with your drive to keep going and always keeping busy, what really drives your creativity, or what drove it from the beginning? Like what made you realize like, yo, I'm meant to do X, Y, and Z and that's just it. Like, because from such a young age being so driven, so motivated, just like how?
I think I had like this. It's funny because if I look back, I'm like, you weren't even that dope. But I think at the time I was like, I'm so dope, and these people need to know. Because like as a kid, I was always shy and quiet. So I felt unnoticed and like I didn't exist in a sense. And I didn't. I was just super quiet at school. No one really ever heard me talking shit. So like doing what I did and thinking it was at a great level, like I always had this chip on my shoulder, like I'm trying to prove it to my hometown, like I'm fucking dope. So like that made me go crazy at first, like just trying to prove to everyone that I knew that like I'm actually really dope. This isn't for like I'm not just some kid that picked up rap and it's like a little hobby. Like I'm trying to show you I'm trying to be real about this shit. So it
Word.
was a lot of that early on, and then it just became something that like I just don't see myself not doing. It just evolved into something that like,
Lifestyle.
100% became my everything. At first it was like a great outlet to express myself. It still is, but it was a big just trying to prove to people thing. And then once I somewhat did that, and then once I realized I don't even need their approval, like it just became this thing that I was like, shit, I'm so deep in this now. I don't know what else I do in my life. And to this day, I don't know what else. Like I don't have any other hobbies. My only other hobby was shooting video. And now that became a thing too. So it's like, all right, I got no other hobbies. But yeah, I was just trying to prove myself. That's what drove me early on.
Hell yeah, that's so sick. Bro, no way I'm sorry, not to break the professional of this
No, no,
podcast,
you're
but
good.
Zoom is trying to give me a 10-minute
Oh
fucking
yeah, that's
limit.
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
terrible. So, but we're just gonna keep it going. If I could start a new
Yep.
meet, then I'll try it and I'll just
Okay.
piece them together. But,
Okay. Cool, cool.
thank you all for understanding. Anywho, to continue on, so with everything said, where does it go from like this 2011 to 2017 era to like 2024 Zoodeville, what we got going on now?
What's the question exactly?
Like,
Like, oh, like what's coming next?
kind of like, how
Mm.
do we, because like this whole time I've been asking you really just about the past and your origin and stuff like that, kind of like,
Yeah. Hmm.
from '09 to we touched around like 2017 when it comes to like the conversation of filmmaking.
Yeah.
How do we
Yep.
get from that era to now?
Man, really? Okay, so in 2017 is when I started coming to LA a lot more, a whole lot more. I joined a collective with Baby Franco. Once I shot with him, I got in this collective called 667 Cult. And it has a bunch of dope artists like Ilmac, Lush One, Fredo Algebra, Chase Moore, Chef Boy Bones, Rob Anthony was in it at some point. Um, if I'm missing anyone else, I'm sorry, but like most of these dudes are professional battle rappers. So they're
Oh shit.
super up here with like their skill writing. So once I started coming to LA and shooting videos in 2017, I thought I was super dope until I met them. And then I'd be in the studio, I would not hop on a song for months. They'd make it in front of me and I'd just be like, I'm good. Because I was just like, they're so good. What the fuck am I gonna do on this song? Oh, and it really made me think about what am I saying when I rap? What am I really talking about? It made me break everything down and then I built it back up and I got just way better. So 2017 was a big turning point for me music wise. It made me really get way better. And then once I met the No Fun homies in like 2021, same thing, but in a different way because they're not rappers, but just musically, they're so ahead
You
that
end up
like,
going through like this little renaissance of your
yeah,
peers.
100%. So I went through two. It was when I joined 667, then when I joined No Fun. Both of those times I'm like, whoa, I'm not that dope. Like I am in my own way, but like these guys are on a whole nother level. I could learn from this. I could take from this and absorb stuff, absorb game, all that. So those two were big pivotal moments from 2017 to now that really changed music for me, even to what I listen to, even to what I accept as dope from other people now, you know?
It sets a
Um,
standard.
yeah, I'm so spoiled. Like it's so hard to I don't man, I'm not like ain't no about rap, but it's hard to impress me. And I only mean that in the sense of like I know people that are so good that if I hear someone else rap, it's not even that I think it's trash. It's just that like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's just not for me. I'm aware that there's these titans that can rap at this level. And so I'm aware of what's hella good. Um, so it does set standards. It does like I view music so differently now and not a snob about it, but I just it's hard for me to be like, holy shit,
I
who is
think it's
this guy?
cool. You're like
Yeah.
you're not easily impressed, and that's a good thing because sometimes you need to apply that to like even yourself when it comes to like
Yeah, yeah, man.
trying to
So
set
true.
goals and just do well.
Yep. 100%. It does make me like question my own stuff or be like, I wouldn't drop songs now that normally I would drop because then I'm like, no, like I could do way better. Like this one just stays in the vault. It doesn't even, like before I used to drop everything I made. Now I'm very selective about what comes out. But yeah, like 2017 and now, it's probably been the more important years of my career as far as like growth, and not even just fan base wise, just internally,
Right.
like probably the most important parts of this whole time, like for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of networking, it's a lot of experimenting, a lot of
Yeah,
self discovery. It's really dope, man.
so
And
much. Yeah.
I think that's so cool. Now talking about you currently, what are you currently working on when it comes to like music and filmmaking or just content in general, et cetera, et cetera?
So I'm working on an album, and after this call, I'm gonna start mixing it in the next room in the studio.
That's
So I'm
sick.
starting the mixing process today. It's gonna be like 15 songs. It's gonna be called Make Yourself at Home. And I'm hoping to drop it by the end of this year, like November, but obviously, like I'm not trying to rush it. So if it goes past that, it's cool. And I haven't dropped the album in like since like 2019. And prior to 2019, dude, I was dropping an album at least once or twice a year. Since
Yeah,
2009, I've dropped so many projects. And then I just stopped. Because also people were like, oh, don't do albums no more, do singles and stuff, right?
yeah.
And I get that. And so I wasn't pressed on doing an album after 2019. But truthfully, bro, I love putting albums together. It's what I've done
And
my
it's
whole
becoming
career.
it's becoming a lost art in a way. People really
Uh-huh.
like singles. It's a new market. People like quicker stuff. They don't want to
Yep.
sit through an album, but it's like a
Yeah.
whole complete set of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. And I'm more doing it so that I have something that's current under my belt, a project, a collection of what I can do.
Right.
Because I could easily now be like, oh, you haven't heard my shit? Listen to this album. Instead of be like, hey, listen to this song, this song, this song, and you'll get an idea of what I like. It's
Nah,
like, bro, I
yeah,
can just send you to one place now.
right.
And I've just learned so much musically. I've changed so much that I want to showcase it. And I like putting albums together. Like, even if like that's not the move now, like I don't want to neglect that need of me putting a cohesive body of work together just because it's not the thing to do. Like
Word
I
up.
can't believe I let all that change how I viewed it, Now I'm like, no, I'm back. I don't care, I'm gonna put projects together. It's what I've done my whole career. So I'm doing that. So I'm shooting a lot of like world building stuff for it that'll be good at like pieces that could promote it and just give more life to it. I want to do a documentary on it, like a 5 to 7 minute documentary just on the road to it and just recapping my whole journey here because it's just so much has happened and I just want to tell that story because I feel like no one else is gonna tell it for me, you know? So I'm like, all right. So the music will come first, videos, and then after like a month or so of it out, do a documentary, bring more life into it, more awareness. And then next year I want to drop an EP too of just turnt music, like
Oh
just slow,
shit, yeah.
because
Just
this
switch up
album
a
is more it's more of like love songs and it's just more there's more intent in what I'm trying to do with it. And then I want to do an EP where I'm not thinking. I'm just making shit that
yeah.
sounds good
It's
and
like
has high
it's
energy.
like here's this depth, here's this collection of real
Yes.
emotion, and then here's like some turn up shit. Wow.
Yep, 100%. So
Real.
that's all I got on the horizon as far as music goes that I'm trying to do. And then videos, I just been taking a back seat on that, and
Focusing on the music right now.
yeah. So this year I probably shot less music videos than I have in a long time and that's been on purpose,
Word
Mhm.
up. That's sick. You're
So
like
yeah.
pouring into yourself rather than like not to like make it sound so, but like instead of pouring into others, you're like finally pouring into yourself, you know?
Yeah,
And
and
that's
I'm a
dope.
big like people pleaser. Like it's a fucked up thing that I do and I put everyone else's shit before mine and stuff. And so now I'm like turning the tables,
Word up.
making
Um,
sure the focus.
yeah, word. To pause you in that minute, I'm gonna try to start a new call just so we don't get cut
Yep.
off, and we'll
Easy
start off
call.
from right where we left off.
Easy
All right.
call.
So yeah, man, I understand the people pleasing thing when it comes to like even like this podcast, like I don't know, these things at first, like for me, the podcast started as an alternative to because I was burnt out by music. I was like, I need a new form of doing something creative. But then
Yeah.
eventually it becomes this thing where it's like, damn, I feel so pressured to doing these interviews and I haven't worked on music in hence amount of time, and it's like shit, you know? So I kind of
Yeah.
get that, you know?
Yeah, man. It took a long time to realize it's a problem. And it's not too much of a problem. It's just something I notice about myself that like if I could do something for someone that's easy for me and it makes them happy, I'm gonna do it. Even if it's like, oh, I was trying to do this for me today. Like,
Yeah, no,
like and I didn't realize it was a bad thing till like I talked to my homegirl Blimes, who's also a people pleaser, and then she put in perspective of how it's not healthy for me. And then yeah, just been trying to change that in a good way because it's like sometimes when you start saying no to people, they think you changed up and shit. So it's like just finding a good way to I'm
balance.
just tired of doing stuff I don't want to do. That's
Word
really
up.
what it is. Yeah, for sure.
Word, yeah. So not like yeah, not giving in. Yeah, I got you on that one for real.
Yeah.
A sense of boundaries. But
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the whiteboard in the background. What started the stories of you with the little slogans on the whiteboard every day?
I think I had deleted Twitter because it was kind of like just too much. Like I would get up and read it like the morning paper.
Yeah.
And like, on Twitter you can scroll through something that'll make you laugh, something that'll make you mad, something that'll make you happy, something that'll piss you off. Just And I don't think it's healthy to feel those many emotions so early in the day, so quick.
Right.
Like that's not normal. There's no way. And so
That's so true.
yeah, so I'm like, I need to delete this app. But there was still this itch in me of like wanting to tweet or say something or just tweet a lyric I really like. And so I had a whiteboard and I just did it one time. I'm like, there's these batch of songs I really liked. I'm like, these are so good. Like, I don't want to use them as captions, but these bars are dope. So for a while, I just started writing all these lines I really like in a book. This one. So like a lot of the whiteboard stuff is like in pages and like crossed out through time. And
Nice.
it was this thing I did just to express myself, and then it just caught on, and like people liked it, and then when I would stop, they'd be like, "Oh, no message today on the board," or
Yeah, it becomes
I'd
like a
go,
thing.
yeah, and then I'd go a couple days without it, and then do it, and then some people are like, "Oh, you're back," da da da, And I'm like, oh, okay, so people like that. That's cool, you know? And so I just kept going. Now it's more of like a like my fans, it's kind of how I look at it like how Tizo Touchdown has those yellow stick-it notes that he writes. And like people now will go to his show with yellow sticky notes and give him a message and shit.
Oh
And I thought,
shit.
I'm like, oh, I kind of have some shit like that going on with like the whiteboard. Is like people are like, and like it's cool like how many people are like, oh, I really feel this one today, or like, oh, I needed to hear this, and I'm like, damn, like that's tight, like, and it's just something I'm thinking about, or a lot of times there's a song I really like and it's a line from it, you know, and
Yeah.
and the only thing I struggle with that fucking whiteboard is that sometimes I'm like, ah, this bar is tight, but people might think I'm sad. But it's like, no, I just like this. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I want you guys to read it. It's not even about me, you know. So trying to find that's the only thing that, because I don't think too much about what I put on there. But sometimes if the bars sounds depressing, I'm like, people are gonna think I'm going through it right now, and that's
Yeah.
why I like
You
this
have to like
bar.
even take this role of like transparency of just being like not even like there. Just like
Yeah.
just the
hmm
whiteboard and the viewer.
Yeah, it's like this ain't even about me. This is for
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying? Like 100%. Yeah, it became really a thing that where now it's like for them. At first it was like, oh, it's like I get to tweet now once a day. You know, like what would I
Yeah.
tweet if I could tweet once a day? Here's what it is. And now it's a thing where it's like, all right, people want to see what I'm gonna say this time, you
This is
know?
someone's inspirational quote for today.
Yeah, and like I have people I follow that like screenshot my story and then post it on theirs and shit. And I'm like, this is tight. It took
Yeah,
on
it's
its own
cool.
little life, you know? So like I'm gonna keep that shit going forever. You know what I mean? Like that's like my third thing now is like rapping, video, whiteboard. Those are three consistent things you can get from me. Yeah.
Whiteboard. There has
But
to
it was
be a
just like
more
it's like a diet Twitter for me, really. You know what I mean? Like I get to
I like the Twitter analogy calling it the morning paper because that's really how it
yeah.
feels. I'm like they're just like,
Uh-huh. And
uh-huh,
that's where I used to get my
uh.
news. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, like so it really is that. And it's just not healthy, I don't think, you know. So I haven't had Twitter for like 4 years, you know. So I'm late
Good.
on memes and shit. There's so many new things and I'm like, what's that? It's like, oh, they're talking about it on Twitter. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know. I'm not on Twitter, you know.
Yeah, I've had that discussion recently of like deleting social media but not doing so for the sake of just marketing like what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I kind of like had that battle because like Twitter's a really like space right now.
Yeah, it was even back then when I quit, it was already like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, if you're talking about 2020, it's like the same exact like it's election year. It's the same atmosphere going
oh, yeah,
on
yeah,
every social
yeah.
media.
Yeah, and then you throw COVID in there and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
then like, bro, I'll have friends that I'm like, you think like this? I wish I didn't know that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
dead
there's some homies I
ass.
got that tweet some like, dude, whoa, whoa, you're not like this at all in person, you know? And it's like, I'd rather not even know that.
Bro, I might just
Like that, like
turn
I'd
the other
rather,
cheek.
yeah, 100%. It's like I don't need to know that.
Nah,
It
because
serves me nothing to know that you think this way. It's
it
like, why
puts
am I
you in a
filling my
compromised
brain with this shit?
position. Where
We fill our brains with so much dumb stuff and don't even think about it.
facts, yeah, it's really just to disrupt our mood.
Yeah,
Disruption.
it has
Yeah.
too much control over it, you know. So I had to cut it out, and I was like, I can still do what I'm doing, and I don't think I'll suffer too much if I delete Twitter. Now I'll never delete Instagram. I'm gonna need Instagram for real, you know. But Twitter, I was able to let that go, you
Word
know.
up,
I
real
don't miss it
shit.
at all. Yeah.
Hell yeah. When it comes to videography of all sorts, is there any niche inspirations you have either compared to your musical inspirations that we discussed?
Damn. Um, I think the first person that hell like impressed me was a homie of mine named R Soul, because he would shoot low budget shit in his small city. And I found him in a time when I was jaded to shooting in LA, which is a huge, bigger playground. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, he's doing super dope stuff in a small town. And it reignited a flame in me. I was like, damn, he's so dope. Like, and he's just shooting in this random street. I was like, I need to stop overthinking. I could just shoot on the random street here. And it changed my whole shit. Like, dude's super dope. But to be completely frank with you, like I only really see myself as a rapper. So I don't compare my videos to anyone else. Also because a lot of the things that I know are dope have a big budget and a team behind them helping. So it's like it's
Right.
not even fair to be like, damn, my shit don't look like that. It's like, well, yeah, I didn't have a fucking gaffer,
Yeah, there's no comparison to
assistant
be made.
director. It doesn't make sense. And I also don't look at other videographers how I do rappers where I'm like, oh, I'm inspired by this. This is super dope. Like I don't go searching for videographers how I do for new music, new artists, like
Right.
because I don't identify as one of those, you know. So also like I don't compare myself also because it's like, yo, this videographer, his whole thing is this. My thing is music, and I do this for fun, and it became a thing.
Right.
So I don't really, and yeah, there's not a lot of visual stuff where I'm like looking out for and being like, oh, you got to peep this guy. He's coming up. Like he shoots dope videos. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know the scene of like music video shit. And then people always think I'm like a big movie dude because I shoot. And it's like I barely see movies. A lot of classic ones I've never seen. I've never seen Forrest Gump. I didn't see Scarface till like 2018. I've never seen like No Country for Old Men, like just so many classics that I've never seen, dude. And people think because I shoot, I get my inspirations from movies. I'm like, no, I don't
That's
know a
fair.
lot of them, you know? Like there's so many classics I don't know. Yeah.
To
My
be
favorite movies like Rush Hour 1. There's nothing crazy cinematic about that movie, you know? I am cursed though with when I watch movies or anything visually, all I can think about is how they're shooting it. For sure, like that. And same with music. I'm thinking about like, damn, they wrote this beat really dope. Like I don't, like I'm cursing that way. I can't just enjoy something. I'm like dissecting it as I'm watching it, you know?
I get that.
So if anything, that's when I'm really looking out at stuff when I'm just in the moment watching it, but I'm not looking out for it. Is if it just comes to me. A lot
Right.
of everything in my life, it just comes to me to be real. Like I don't really go out to look for things. I think it's
I
more meaningful when know it found me. And I like that. I like having that relationship with the stuff in my life. They find me, you know.
I think it really attributes to your stuff that you're so like relaxed and like nonchalant in a way. Because even if it's not like what's the word? I guess intentional. It's definitely how you like come off. You're just like, yeah, man, I'm just chilling, organic. Wait till it comes to me. And it's like it probably works so much like better in fitting you. Like I feel like your work fits you so well because of that.
Yeah, and I just, I've just everything that I've tried to force never worked. So like, I've just surrendered to life, dude. Not like I gave up, but I'm just like, you do your thing. I'm gonna just chill. I'm gonna do what I need to do. If you want to bring me dope shit, sick. But I'm
Word,
not forcing anything, man. Like I've just surrendered to the universe for real. Like I'm just because everything that I love about my life just happened. So I'm like, let me just you do your thing. So I'm gonna stop trying. I'm gonna just enjoy the ride, bruh. Why am I
word,
trying to take the wheel? Like I know people are like, you gotta take your life by the wheel and control it. I get that, but at the same time, the life I live now has been because I just let the fucking driver do his thing.
word.
You just sit here and
Look out
stop
the
telling me
window.
where to go, you know? I'm
Yeah,
just a passenger in this whip. We all are a passenger in this life. Like it's gonna do what it does.
dead ass.
I think the stress comes from trying to control this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and then disappointment comes from trying to control shit. Expectations disappoint you because you want things to go a certain way. It's bro, just accept things for how they come.
Right,
And if it sucks, it sucks. If it's good, it's good. But you didn't have no expectations, and you're not only sad because it didn't go how you wanted. Like we rob ourselves of a lot of the peace that we should have. It's us, you know.
right.
It's our expectations, our wants, and I'm just yeah, I decided to just chill. Yeah.
I
I've
like
always just
that,
been
man.
chill, dude. Like I'm the most chill dude and no fun. Like everyone's super hyper. I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm just chilling, you know.
No, yeah, and that
Yeah.
it even drives like draws people towards you, man. Like again, like you come off like this chill, nonchalant dude. I'm like, what does this guy have to say? Let me that's like even when we're getting this interview, I'm like, what does this dude have to say? I really like
Yeah.
if I had, to be honest, I did assume that you were like a movie head or something.
Mhm.
I'm like, there has to be something to this guy, and you're just like, I'm just chilling with life, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
respect.
I literally am just chilling. I'm super quiet. Even when we have like no fun meetings, like I don't chip in a lot. My thoughts like, but when I do, everyone shuts the fuck up and listens because it's like, oh my God, he's saying some shit. And then I always say some real shit. So sometimes the people like I'll just say it to like we might be on a Zoom or something. So then I'm with just like two members and everyone's on Zoom and I'm telling them what I think. They're like, "That's really good. You should tell everybody."
Yeah,
Like they'll listen to you because you hardly say anything. So when you do say something, it means more. And
less is more.
I run with that. I'm like, I'm only need to speak when I need to, and it's gonna have more value than if I'm just
Word.
always
Yeah.
talking and shit. So my friends taught me that that's without them even trying to teach me that. I learned that through just them how they treat when I finally do talk and stuff like that.
Word up. That's
Yeah.
dope. To segue this forward, we talked about past, talked about present, the album you're working on, videography is taking a back seat. What do you plan for the future, whether it's, the near future or the next couple year plan, or is it kind of just like that? I don't know what's coming up because I'm going with life.
Yeah, as far as I'm thinking is the album and then the following turned up EP. Like that's as far as I'm thinking, like I know what the touring schedule is next year, so I just know like what months I'm not gonna be here next year. That's all I know. I
Word up.
don't I don't I've never had like this by this age, I want to be doing this. I see myself. No, I've never been that guy. I've just take it day by day for real. Because this is all we got, dude, right now. It's like I'm gonna rob myself of these moments if I'm only thinking about the future. And I understand that like it's important to like plan your shit out, but I think different things work for different people. And for me to just be at peace and stuff, I just need to worry about right now. There's stuff to do right now. So I'm not even thinking about where's my 5 year plan? I never had a 5 year plan because this whole journey, this music shit is so unpredictable that's like I'm gonna only disappoint myself if I don't reach my 5 year plan. And it might not even be in my control that it didn't go that way. So it's like, why would I rob myself of I'm gonna just take it as it goes, man. Yeah. So I'm not thinking too far ahead to be real. And I don't know if I should be, but I'm not. And I'm
That's
cool with
fair.
that. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like how you approach art and also just like how your life, like how you approach life and your approach to life goes seeps into your art, you know?
Yeah. It's all just one thing, man, for real. It
Word
all fits
up.
into each other.
When it comes to your little like turned up thing that you have talking about after this album that you've been focusing on for some time, where are the inspirations from that? Like what kind of turn up are we talking about? Like we talking about some like Jersey mix or like some what are we going on?
I think like just energetic and fun and not overthinking. Um, with this album, it's not that I was overthinking, but I put a lot of thought into it.
Right.
I just want to make some stuff that feels good and you don't have to think when you
Right.
listen to it. It just feels good and it sounds good. And really stuff that you can play in the whip in front of whoever, just turn stuff. And
Word.
a lot like my album would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna skip this song because yeah, we're in the car. Like this hits when you're in the room by yourself with some headphones. You know what I'm saying? Like, so and I've never really did a whole project ever in my life where I'm just trying to make fun stuff. I've
Right.
never always been conceptual and stuff like that. Um, and then yeah, it's just this itch I have to make some stuff like that. That's really where it comes from. It's like this itch that I feel like I've been needing to scratch.
Hell yeah.
Um, but it's more like more. It's gonna be more of like if I was way to wait from No Fun, it's gonna be like some super turnt stuff. Like so, I'm excited for that. It's gonna be called Bazooka. It's like explosion and it has zoo in it. Something like that's fucking perfect, you
Yeah, I
know.
figured. That's dope.
So yeah, so that's it's just a something fun that I want to do after doing something serious. That's I just want to pivot. Like, oh, you thought I was gonna maybe keep going with this?
180.
It's just like, nope, you know.
When
So yeah,
when it comes to those projects, should we be expecting any of your no fun associates or any features from anybody, or is it kind of like solo work for real?
yeah. The album has Garrett on it. It has who else from No Fun? Dave on it. I'm gonna have Slug from Atmosphere on it. I have the homegirl Rawa doing like backup vocals. I have Baby Franco on it. Swan from No Fun made a beat. Garrett made a beat on there. Jonah, I have a song with Jonah on there, our manager. With my homie Adam Flowers, crazy song. So it's a family affair for real, you know.
I'm
But I
looking
also didn't
forward to
want
that.
to. I didn't want to have hella features either. So like, and then it's no fun. So it's like if I got everyone on it, it's like too many features, you know.
Right.
Um, but that's one thing I did want to do on this one is like collaborate. I don't really collaborate a lot, you know. So
Right.
this album, I wanted to do that. And then Bazooka will for sure have like Mother Wada on it and Wade Away because they just live in that energy, you know what I mean? And that makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, but yeah, have people from No Fun and just friends on the album for sure. Yeah. Then I have
Teamwork
like,
makes the dream work.
yeah, and then I have like voice memos from homegirls I have from all over the world. I wanted to get girls I know that speak different languages. Like I have a homegirl in Sweden and Paris. I have a homegirl that speaks Arabic. I just want them all to say make yourself at home in their language, however it's translated in there.
That's sick.
Sprinkle about it. And yeah, I just want a lot of people on it, even if it's not features, like just little things, you know, that
Word up.
like no one will know who this person is, but like I know, and
Word.
it's me. Like I'm just making this everything that I do, bro, for real. It's just so I can look back at it in the future and have memories of it.
I was gonna say on that note, does culture ever play a role in your art? With the different languages thing, or even like I heard you on another podcast talk about like flamenco music, and I'm like, oh shit, that's cool Latino shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so like me and Baby Franco made like a Spanish EP that like we're not gonna drop it as an EP anymore, but we have more Spanish music. And to be honest, like 92% of the music I listen to is Spanish stuff, you know? It's a little more interesting to me, and maybe because it's like I don't have enough knowledge on their landscape of music, so everything sounds new and like fresh to me, you know?
Word up.
Um, so I really enjoy that, and I want to make more shit like that, but I'm just focused on these next two projects now, but then maybe I'll do some more Spanish stuff like because like this album is a lot. I finally started making music that I actually like that sounds like stuff I listen to. So I
Right.
do want to do a project where it's like it sounds like Spanish stuff I listen to, but I did make it a thing early on where I didn't want me being Mexican to have anything to do with my music. So like for a long time I didn't implement English or any Mexican references into my music because it's so easy for us to get put in a box as like Chicano rapper or some shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't want you to hear my music and be like, "Oh, this is Mexican shit." Like I no, it's just I'm just this guy, and if you don't know
Yeah.
my race, then you don't even know it from my music. You know, like
Right.
I don't want to have a Mexican flag in my music videos. None of that. Like I don't want to like I just want to be an artist. Who I am, where I come from, has nothing to do with this song right now. You know, so like I've been very conscious of that since I was young. I'm like, I ain't putting no Mexican flags in my shit. I'm not doing some super Mexican shit on it. Like my culture has nothing to do with it, you know,
Right.
visually or just because like sometimes there's some Mexican rappers I really like, but they do too much Spanglish in it. And I'm like, you're kind of like, it's hard for me to play this for people because it's like, they're not gonna fully and understand shit. And I get it though, but I just don't want to toe that line.
Yeah, because you either fall into like you fall into a box because people either like it's like two boxes. Like you're either being discarded into like a genre or you're being like, what's the word? Damn, I can't really put on my thing, but like it really either way you're getting put in a box and it
Yeah.
puts you in a niche. That's what I want to say. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
it limits you, you know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, and there's like rappers I like that I think are super talented, but them being so heavily on their bringing their race into it is also what's keeping you from going crazier. Like I love Snow the Product so much. She's so dope. One of the greatest female rappers that exists. but I think the reason she can't go even further than having her, and she has a loyal fan base. She doesn't even need mainstream attention or nothing. And that's kind of what I want to do. Where same with like Atmosphere, they have their own fan base. They whatever landscape changes in the music doesn't matter. Their fans are there for them and just them.
Right.
She has that, but like I think what's keeping her from going even further is that all her music has heavy Spanish lyrics in it as well as English, but that like alienates some people, where they're like, "Oh, I can't relate to this. Like it's obviously not made for me because they're talking a lot of Spanish. I don't, and I just want my
Yeah.
shit to be universal. Like I don't want it to seem like I'm making it for a certain type of person or
Right.
anything like that." So early on, I knew I didn't want to implement my race into this shit at all. Even though like Mexican regional music and all that shit's taking off and is being more accepted, doesn't matter to me. It's just like it was never part of my whole thing. I know rappers that like never really talked about their race or showed it off until it became cool. And now they're Mexican flags everywhere in their music video because they know like, oh, it's taking off. This might help. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like I just stand on what I believe in. I don't care if the tides change in it. And like I'm never wanted to do that.
Word up. Yeah, no, it's definitely like that's cool, you just want to keep your culture and your music, your art separate, because
Separated.
then
Sure.
a lot of times like even with what you're saying is like the art ends up just becoming in like what's the word, absorbed by everything else that it's like, by the culture, again, and then it becomes like Chicano rap or it becomes like
Yeah.
something labeled as something even if it's not.
A
So
hundred
I
percent.
I
So,
understand that.
yeah, yeah. That's the last thing I want for me to get introduced. And people just need to put labels on things so they can describe it for people. It's not that deep, but I just don't ever want to be labeled as a Chicano rapper or Mexican rapper. I'm just a rapper, you
Right.
know. Now, if I put hella Mexican flags in my shit and hella Mexican references, and then someone called me like a Mexican rapper, I wouldn't be mad because like, well, yeah, that's kind of like my whole thing.
Right.
So if someone names me, describe me as that, and it's nowhere in my music, I'm gonna be like, bro,
Right.
you
Like you're
even know
just
I'm Mexican. Well, until you saw me, but if you just heard my song, like you don't know that.
yeah, if anything
Yeah.
becomes like in that context it's like derogatory.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
But no, yeah. So I feel like I asked a lot of good questions, and I feel like I got a really good conversation. Cause like with you, man, like this interview is even selfish. Cause I was like, yo, bro, I think you're a cool guy. Like I want to have this conversation and just get to know you for real. And so I think it was dope. However, before like I try to wrap it up, is there anything that you want to talk about or bring light to? Cause it's your interview.
I think the album was the only thing I would have brought up if you didn't ask. Yeah.
Word
Because
up.
other than that, there's nothing on my plate right now that I'm even worried about or putting energy into besides the album.
And
So
if I didn't ask already, because you talked about the EP being named Bazooka, what's the album name going to be?
make yourself at home.
Make Yourself at Home. That's right. And
Mhm.
you're doing it in
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
different
yeah.
languages. Sweet,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yep. Yeah. And I had that title for a minute. I knew I wanted to name something that. And I think what it is the music in here is super what's the word? It's so I'm being vulnerable. So the message is really like I'm making myself at home. So I'm just showing you.
Oh shit. Did we lose him? Did
I
I
was
lose
kind
him?
of like,
Oh
yeah.
no. Sorry. I think it cut off for a second, but I
Oh
get
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of just the idea of it. Like it's super vulnerable. Um, like I said, there's hella love songs. Bro, when I was in a relationship for like 5 years, from like 2015 to 2020, and that time I never made one love song ever. Because I kind of felt weird that people would know exactly who I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Like that felt vulnerable to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like now, I was not being in a relationship. Like I can reflect on what it was now that I'm not in one. So now I have so much to say about shit. So a lot of this album is like love songs.
Word up.
Um, not so like, oh, I love you, but like they just have elements of like all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Talking
So it's
about
very vulnerable. So that was just the name I felt seemed like it fit.
I feel like it's a cool fitting name too for your first album in 5 years.
Yeah, yeah,
give or
yeah.
take. Make yourself at home. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, welcome to my home. You haven't been
Yeah.
here in some
And
years.
so many, it's so
Yeah,
long, but like you could still, nothing's changed. My house is your house type shit. Like, you know,
I like
um,
that. Hospitable.
yeah. Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah. So now to wrap up the podcast, we have a last question pod. Um, Once again, I want to thank you for your time and stuff before we wrap it up. This was a great conversation. Um, Zoodeville, what do you got going on next day, week, month, year, decade, millennium, century, whatever? It could be what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow. Just for real.
Shit, this whole month I'm mixing the album and shooting for it, and then October I'm back on tour for a whole month. And what's crazy about that tour, just
Talk
to
about
bring
it.
it full circle, the first person to ever give me some fans, the reason I even had fans to begin with that weren't just friends from high school, was this girl named Reverie, who from LA, and I had found her, and then a week later she does this contest because she was playing at this festival and she was giving 2 tickets away. She's like, make a song about this festival I'm about to play at, and you get 2 free tickets to the festival. I just really like the beat. I was still in high school. There's no way I'm gonna go to San Bernardino and fucking go to this festival. I have no way to get there. But I like the beat and I would like the challenge. So I fucking got on that fucking contest and I won. And then she shared my shit, my video. I got started getting fans. People start going to older videos of mine, leaving comments like, "You're dope. I just found you."
That's
Then
dope.
I'm like, "Oh, fans for the first time." So then I'd make music with knowing that I have fans, and she would share it. And then all my early years, I would in interviews and shit, I'd always say like she's the reason I'm where I'm at. And then she started hitting me up like, stop saying that, like you did it. But to bring it full circle, now and she loves Atmosphere too. Now she's on the tour in October, being the opener. And
That's
then we
so
play after
cool.
in Atmosphere. So like that's gonna be very special for me and her. Cause like damn, we came a long fucking way, you know.
That's
So
so sick, bro.
yeah. So that's what I'm telling you, bro. A lot of this shit is just full circle. It just happens. It's so crazy how it does. But yeah, so this next tour is gonna be very, very special for
That's
sure.
so cool. Because time is a
Big
circle. So
full
we're
circle.
just
Yeah,
making
man.
loops.
Yeah. 100%, man.
Hell
So,
yeah.
so other than
That's
that, man, chilling, just working on the album, about to do the tour, more tours next year, and just
on the
keeping
road.
it on for real, man. Just it's nothing else I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna just
Word up.
walk
Before,
through life, dig forward.
exactly.
You know what I'm talking about?
Before I sign off too, just the last question in my head. Where did your little logo with the little like cat with the blunt, where did that come from?
Oh, that's a from a guy named Snotnose on Instagram, and essentially back in the day, like 2016, 2017, he like bought a verse for me, right? And I gave him a verse. And then he's like, oh, like months later, he's like, I need another verse. What's up? Like, how much? And I'm like, you know what? Make me a logo and I'll just give you a verse, you know? And I had this black cat at the time. His name was Lil Pump and like the rapper. And then I was like, yeah, just make it a cat, maybe with a blunt in his mouth or something. No, I didn't even say the blunt in his mouth. He just put a blunt in the and he said, this is perfect. I'm like, can you just change the eyes green? Because my cat's eyes were green. And then that's just how it happened. And I just had that logo forever. You know, I didn't think twice about it. I don't even know how people perceive that logo, to be real. Like, it was just, I didn't even think about it too much. You know, just like shit. I wasn't even looking for a logo at the time. That it just an idea I had as soon as he hit me up about a video, and then now it's like Atmosphere from I mean Slug from Atmosphere when we were in Denver right before Red Rocks, he got my fucking logo tatted on him like right here.
Oh
It's my favorite
shit.
rapper growing up. Got my fucking logo tatted on him. It's fucking ridiculous, bro.
That's so
It's insane.
surreal, bro. That's so
Yeah,
surreal.
it's insane.
That's
It's
so,
ridiculous.
man, I wish you the best and I hope the thing keeps turning up? Shit keeps on the
Thank
incline,
you,
you know?
man.
Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah, man.
Once again, thank you for your
Yeah,
time. Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for the last hour or so.
Yeah, yeah, man. Anytime for real. This
Hell
was
yeah.
fun.
This was the Cult of Personality podcast. Thank you guys for viewing also as well for the last hour. And all the links for everything will be in the description below. Uh, check out all the cool stuff. I don't know who I'm interviewing next week or in the next couple weeks because you know how I am.
Come
And peace.
on.
Hell yeah, bro. Peace, peace, love and hair grease. And